They say looks are everything, that women only want the tall, rich, handsome guys with chiseled jaws and magazine smiles. But if that were true, why do we constantly see average, even unattractive men walking confidently beside stunning, high-value women? It's not a glitch in the matrix, it's not luck, it's not even about money. It's about something deeper, something far more powerful. These men have unlocked a psychological edge most guys overlook, a mindset rooted in timeless Stoic wisdom. And once you understand what they know, everything changes. This isn't about learning cheesy lines or playing emotional games. This is about resetting your mindset and discovering the secret behind real magnetic confidence. Because the truth is, women aren't chasing perfection. They're drawn to presence, purpose, and power. In this video, you'll learn why the guy you call ugly has her attention, while you're stuck wondering what went wrong, and more importantly, how to change that, starting today. Stick with me to the end, because there's one final insight at the end that will shift how you see yourself forever. And if you're serious about unlocking this level of attraction, hit that subscribe button now. What you're about to hear might just be the wake-up call you've needed. The biggest lie society ever sold to men is that attractiveness begins and ends with your face. That if your jawline isn't carved like a statue or your hair isn't perfect, you're automatically disqualified from being desired. But let me tell you something that Stoic men have always understood. Real attraction isn't built on symmetry or status. It's built on how you carry yourself, on the energy you project when you walk into a room, on the way you act when the world tries to shake you and you don't flinch. There's a reason the average-looking guy with a quiet voice and calm demeanor walks out with the most stunning woman at the party. He's mastered something deeper than looks. He doesn't chase. He doesn't beg. He doesn't need validation. That's what makes him powerful. That's what makes him magnetic, and that's exactly what makes her choose him over you again and again. The moment you stop trying to impress is the moment you start becoming truly impressive. Stoicism teaches us that the only thing we truly own is our mind, our response to life. Everything else is temporary, including other people's opinions. While most men waste their lives trying to fit into an image they think women want, Stoic men focus on something entirely different: internal power. They control their thoughts, their actions, their habits. They show up every day with purpose. They train their bodies not for vanity but for discipline. They build wealth not for show, but for freedom. And in doing that, they emit a silent, irresistible force that most people can't even explain, but feel immediately. Now here's the harsh truth. If you believe that your appearance is the reason women don't notice you, you've already lost. That mindset puts you in a victim position. It strips you of your power, because deep down it tells you that you can't change. But Stoic philosophy teaches the opposite. You can control your reality by mastering yourself. When you walk through life knowing that you are the man, regardless of whether anyone else notices, you begin to attract, not from desperation, but from alignment. Women aren't attracted to the guy who asks for attention. They're drawn to the one who doesn't need it. Why? Because he's rare. He's grounded. He's not tossed around by emotions or trying to impress everyone in the room. He's calm in chaos. He's present when everyone else is distracted. He speaks less and listens more. And when he does speak, every word matters. Here's a secret that most guys miss. Women don't fall in love with your looks. They fall in love with how they feel in your presence. Do you make her feel safe? Do you lead with confidence? Do you make her want to lean in to understand you better? Or do you throw all your cards on the table begging for her to validate you? The reason average-looking men win is because they operate from internal abundance. They know who they are. They don't need to explain it. That alone makes them 10 times more attractive than any guy trying to prove himself. Think about the man who knows exactly what he wants. He walks into a room, not to compete with other men, but to observe. He speaks when he has something to say, not to fill silence. He doesn't need to laugh at every joke. He doesn't need to follow the crowd. And when a beautiful woman looks his way, he doesn't jump. He simply returns the look, calm, grounded, unfazed. That moment alone plants a seed in her mind. Why isn't he reacting like the others? What does he know that they don't? That's the Stoic edge. It's not coldness, it's presence, it's restraint, it's choosing to respond, not react. And that choice is what separates boys from men. You want her attention? Stop needing it. You want her respect? Start by respecting yourself so deeply that her approval becomes a bonus, not a requirement. Let's go deeper. Most men live in a reactive state. She doesn't reply fast enough. He panics. She says something sarcastic. He gets defensive. She tests him emotionally. He fails every time. But the Stoic man, he sees through it. He doesn't react. He knows that most tests are just signals, little checks to see if you're really the man you claim to be. And every time you remain calm under pressure, you pass the test without even trying. What's ironic is that the guy who gets the girl never tries to get the girl. He's too focused on becoming, on building, on his mission. And she sees that. She feels the energy of a man whose eyes are locked on his future. She notices that he's not waiting for her response to validate him. He doesn't chase. He attracts. And attraction, my friend, is a byproduct of alignment. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you sat in silence and reflected on your purpose? When was the last time you hit the gym not to impress others, but to conquer your own weakness? When was the last time you chose discipline over pleasure, long-term gains over short-term validation? Because that's where transformation begins. That's where you become the kind of man women respect, admire, and desire. Not for his looks, but for his spirit. You don't have to be the best looking. You don't have to be rich. You don't even have to be popular. But you do have to be committed to your evolution. You do have to show up for yourself, especially when no one is watching. Because when you do, the world starts watching. The energy shifts, people treat you differently, doors open, women notice. Not because you asked, but because you became undeniable. Here's a little exercise. Next time you feel invisible, instead of asking, "Why don't they see me?" ask, "Am I someone worth seeing?" Not in terms of looks or flash, but in presence, in discipline, in character. Are you becoming the man who commands a room with silence? Who enters a space without needing attention, because his energy speaks before he does? That's the Stoic man. That's the edge. And here's the best part. It's all in your hands. You don't need to change your face. You need to change your posture, your voice, your habits, your mindset. A man who trains every day, who reads, who thinks before he speaks, who sets goals and pursues them relentlessly. That man becomes magnetic. Women don't choose him because of how he looks. They choose him because of how he lives. Because his presence makes them feel secure, inspired, alive. So stop saying, "I'm not good enough." Start saying, "I'm becoming better every day." Stop waiting for someone to notice you. Start becoming someone they can't ignore. Stop blaming the world for not giving you attention. Start giving the world a version of you that demands respect. That's what Stoicism is about. Ownership, presence, power. And let me make one final point here before we close. The man who operates from scarcity always loses. The one who believes he has to win her over, to prove something, to earn her gaze, he always ends up chasing shadows. But the man who walks with silent confidence, who stays calm under fire, who pursues his mission with passion and consistency, he never has to chase. He becomes the flame and others are drawn to the fire. That's why she's not chasing you yet. You haven't become the fire, but you can, and the process starts today. Now you know the truth. It was never about your face, your fashion, or your finances. It was always about your frame, your mental, emotional, and spiritual posture. The reason some men get chased while others get ignored isn't luck. It's not looks. It's the result of how they carry themselves, how they react under pressure, how they lead their own lives without needing permission or applause. The moment you stop trying to convince others of your worth and start proving it to yourself, your entire world shifts. That's when women notice. That's when you become a magnet, not because you tried, but because you became. And this shift doesn't take a lifetime. It takes a decision. One decision to stop chasing validation. One decision to stop blaming the outside world. One decision to master your inner world. And when you do that, truly do it, everything begins to change. Not just your dating life, but your energy, your direction, your presence, and your purpose. If you got value from this message, drop a comment right now and tell me, what are you going to do differently starting today? And if you're ready to become the kind of man who doesn't chase but attracts, who lives by stoic discipline and silent power, hit that subscribe button. Join a movement of men committed to mastering themselves, because this isn't about being better than anyone else. It's about becoming better than who you were yesterday. You've got the mindset now. It's time to act. Become the man they can't ignore. Become the man they respect. Become the man you were meant to be.